Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Chrissy T. I'm back with the review, recap, summary of Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 28. In this particular scene, the Fletchers invited everyone out to a restaurant. And she asked them to accompany her and her husband on a trip to Houston. And she wants everyone to come, whether they like it or not. Marceau and Tisha arrive to the restaurant and they greet everybody. And they both go over to Stormi and Courtney. Courtney and Marceau did a handshake. Tisha went over to give Courtney a hug, which she gave her a hug back. And she went to hug Stormi and then said hello, but Stormi didn't speak back and she had her nose turned up. Granted, the hug may have been a little too much, but it wouldn't have hurt to say hello to them, Stormi. Because, y'all didn't end on really bad terms. Y'all came to an agreement that the relationship you guys have would be a high and by. So I'm quite uncertain as to why you didn't speak. It wasn't that serious. But then again, you're so immature and petty. Grow up. Melody shows up unaware that Martell was invited. I can't wait to see them able to co-parent in a healthy relationship, because right now things aren't good between these two. I would like to see them able to be in the same room with each other and there be no ill feelings towards one another. Nevertheless, Melody does seem to be optimistic to go to Houston and excited and wants to have a good time as long as Martell stays in his quarters and there's a lock on her door. And he remained far away from her as possible. And I dig it. That's not unreasonable or too much to ask for. So yeah, I dig it. Everyone is looking forward to going to Houston, but Courtney and Stormi seem very standoffish. Stormi acted as if she didn't want to be there. Girl, please leave already. Don't let your feelings with Marceau and Tisha take away from you possibly having a good time. Don't let them steal your joy over something petty. So Kimmy, seeing that Courtney and Stormi are very standoffish, she asked them if everything was all good between them and the Scotts. Marceau said they hashed everything out, and they did. They had that understanding. We don't need to be friends. We can keep it high and by, short and sweet. Kimmy then pulls Stormi to the side to see how everything is going on between them two. And Nell goes over to Tish and pretty much asks her the same thing. Nell mentions to Tisha about Stormi Canvas Beauty's shipping policy that she copied and pasted. And Tisha, again, pointing fingers at everyone except herself. She blames her web designer. She's not. And what really irks me is that Tisha is not taking this matter as serious as she ought to. But then again, we are talking about Tisha. And I think Stormi would have been more receptive to Tisha's apology had she been serious about it and not pointing fingers at everyone. It just wasn't a good look. So Stormi is giving Kimmy her side of the story, and she says that when she addressed the matter to Tisha about copying and pasting her shipping policy, she was met with some deflection. And she was. She didn't own up to her mistake. It is your company. Regardless who did the web design, it is still your company. You are the face of the company. You are responsible. Period. And if her kids were old enough, I honestly think Tisha would have blamed her kids. And Tisha is talking to Melody and Nell, and she's telling them that it was her assistant, it was her manager's fault. She was too hands off. She should have been hands on. You should be hands on with accountability also. If you receive positive reviews, you would take the credit. So now that you're receiving negative feedback, you can't take the credit. Your husband tells you have a problem taking accountability. Melody told you had a problem taking accountability. Stormi is telling you the same thing, yet you still don't believe it. Stormi then tells Kimmy she has 2 speeds in a bike. Not 10 speeds, but 2 speeds. One of those speeds are, that's what's up. And the other speed is, don't F with me. She said Marceau was sounding condescending and she wanted to pop off and felt that it was in her best interest to leave. Let me say this. Stormi, your bark is bigger than your bite. You are not to be taken seriously. And that's why many don't. Okay, you talk aggressively, but you don't follow through with any type of action. It's all lip service. Your threats seem imposing, but in reality, they lack capability or willingness. You act like you and your husband are feared among the masses when that's farthest from the truth. You demand respect, but don't give it. You can't handle the same level of BS that you impose on other people. The way Marceau approached the conversation wasn't that serious. If it was that serious, Courtney would have interjected because he's the mature one in the relationship, Stormi. Stormi is very immature and childlike. She gets offended over nothing. Marceau didn't say anything bad. He was trying to have an adult conversation, and you took it as a confrontation. You wanted a reason to get your husband activated, and it failed. You wanted him to chin check Marceau because you have the tendency to respond with hostility, even in situations where it's unnecessary and inappropriate. But your husband is quite the opposite. It seems like he is more level-headed, and he doesn't feed off your energy because you are overly emotional. So Kimmy is suggesting that they talk again. And Stormi is like, no, she's not open to that idea. And Kimmy had a lot to say in her confessional that she didn't say to her face, but she was definitely making sense. She was basically saying in her confessional that her and Marceau have the same qualities, facts, because that explains why they don't get along. Sometimes the qualities that bother us and others can offer us some insights into ourselves that we might need to address. Stormi?